Did you know there's a 7-minute episode about assembling Flatpack furniture that fans genuinely believe is secretly about the entire meaning of life? And on the flip side, there's an episode so widely disliked that people compare it to filler in a show that basically never has filler. Today we're expanding the list and going through 5 of the best episodes in Bluey and 5 of the worst, back and forth, best then worst, all the way to the end. But first, if you've ever cried at a kid's show and refused to admit it, drop a heart emoji. And if you're a Bluey fan, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Number 1. Sleepytime. We have to start here because there is genuinely no debate. Sleepytime might be the best episode Bluey has ever made. Bingo decides she's ready to sleep in her own bed like a big girl for the very first time, and the episode follows her dream instead of her actual night. In the dream, Bingo and her toy rabbit Floppy drift out into space, slowly getting bigger, further from home, floating past planets while the narration compares her tiny body to the size of the universe. There's barely any dialogue. It's mostly music and imagery. And right when she's floating furthest from home, alone in the dark, she wakes up scared in the middle of the night. And that's when Chili, half asleep herself, quietly gets up and climbs into Bingo's bed to be close to her. The episode ends with the line that every parent who's watched this says wrecked them. Narrator. And for the rest of the night, the whole family sleeps a little closer together. 7 minutes. Almost no talking. And it somehow explains the entire feeling of being a small kid in a big universe and a parent who will always come back for you. That's why it's sitting at the very top. Number 2. Wild Girls. Now for the other end of it. Wild Girls is tied for the lowest rated episode in the whole series, sitting around a 7.2 on IMDb, which sounds fine until you realize most Bluey episodes sit in the 8s and 9s. Here's what actually happens. Bluey and Bingo pretend to be wild animals in the backyard. They run, they climb, they refuse to listen to anyone, and that's basically it. There's no real story underneath it. No bandit or Chili moment. No quiet parenting lesson hiding in the chaos. It's just noise for 7 minutes straight. And the thing is, Bluey has always been great at loud, messy, chaotic kid energy. That's not the problem. The problem is that the chaos never goes anywhere. It starts wild, it ends wild, and there's no payoff waiting at the end of it. Fans mostly agree on the same complaint. Comment, my kid loved it, I did not. And that gap is the whole issue. Bluey usually works because it lands for kids and adults at the same time. Wild Girls only really lands for one of them. Number 3. The Sign. Coming back up to one of the best, we have to talk about The Sign, the season 3 finale, and the longest episode Bluey has ever made, clocking in at 28 minutes when a normal episode is only 7. The Healer family is selling the house. Bandit's got a job offer in another city. There's a for sale sign hammered into the front yard. And on top of all that, Uncle Rad is getting married in the backyard the same weekend. Everything is happening at once. Bingo finds out the house is being sold and completely falls apart. Chili is the one holding everyone together, right up until she can't anymore either. And Bandit, who's been the practical one the whole episode, finally gets his moment when he steps outside after a phone call and rips the sign clean out of the ground himself. This episode hit number 12 on IMDb's list of the greatest TV episodes of all time. Not greatest kids show episodes, greatest television episodes, period. Wrestler Johnny Gargano called it Avengers Endgame level for Bluey fans. One parent online wrote, comment, my therapist isn't going to know what hit her. A 28-minute episode about whether to sell a house, made for preschoolers, trending worldwide. That's what The Sign does to people. Number 4. Charades. Now for one that frustrates a lot of viewers for a very specific reason, Charades. Nana is looking after all 4 grandkids, and Bluey and Bingo just want to play a normal, calm game of charades. Muffin has other plans. She tries to grab the secret cards before the game even starts. When Bluey acts out a duck, Muffin guesses chicken. When Bingo does a ballerina, Muffin guesses chicken again. And then squirrel, seemingly at random. Then Muffin demands her own turn, wants the ballerina card specifically, and refuses to perform unless someone finds her an actual tutu and plays real ballerina music. So Nana has to dig out a precious music box just to keep the peace, and the entire game slowly bends around one toddler's demands until nobody else gets to actually play. The episode never really corrects the behavior either. Muffin gets everything she wants by melting down for it, and that's simply how the episode ends. For a lot of viewers, that's the exact problem. It's not that Muffin is unrealistic, toddlers do act like this. It's that the show doesn't give the moment any real resolution the way it usually does. Number 5. Flatpack. Back to the good side, and this one might be the most talked about hidden depth episode Bluey has ever made. Flatpack. On the surface, it looks like nothing. Bandit and Chili are building porch furniture in the backyard while the girls play in the empty boxes. 7 minutes, done. Except what actually happens in those boxes is that Bluey and Bingo accidentally act out the entire history of life on Earth. They start as fish, crawl onto land as lizards, become dinosaurs, then birds, then cave dwellers, moving through the full cycle of civilization while their parents argue in the background about whether to read the instruction manual. Then it ends with an old, elderly Bluey using a cane, having played the mother the whole game, while Bingo, the daughter in the game, grows up, invents a rocket, and blasts off to explore the universe. Bluey is left behind, old, wondering what comes next. And that's the moment Bandit and Chili, who've quietly been playing the role of gods this entire time, reach down and take Bluey's hand. Bandit, this is heaven. A children's show, 7 minutes long, technically about furniture assembly, secretly about evolution, mortality, and what happens after a life ends. The internet has never fully recovered from this one. Number 6. Tina. Now here's one that splits fans right down the middle. Tina, Bluey's imaginary friend, is invisible, enormous, and used almost entirely to boss the parents around. Tina says they have to make dinner right now. Tina says they have to play this specific game. Tina says nobody has to go to bed, and Bandit and Chili, being Bandit and Chili, just go along with it. The issue people have is that the lesson lands strangely. The whole episode is the kids using a giant, imaginary creature to override their parents' authority, and it mostly works for them right up until the very end when they're told adults don't boss them around for fun. They do it because they care. It's a fine lesson. It just arrives after nearly 7 minutes of the kids winning, and that's exactly what gets argued about online endlessly. Some people think it's funny and the message still lands, others think the wrong thing was made too entertaining for too long. Number 7. Camping. Back to one of the most quietly devastating episodes in the whole show. Camping. Bluey wanders off pretending to be lost in the forest while collecting sticks, and a boy walks up speaking only French. This is Jean-Luc, and Bluey can't understand a single word he says. It doesn't matter. They build a little house out of branches together anyway, plant a seed by the creek, and spend the day hunting a wild pig that's really just Bandit in disguise. Then, one morning, Bluey runs to his campsite and the tent is gone. He tried to tell her his family was leaving, but she never understood, and she never got to say goodbye. Chili tells her that special people come in and out of our lives. And then, years later, a teenage Bluey is sitting under the same tree that grew from that seed, and Jean-Luc walks up and says hello. In English this time, he learned an entire new language just so he could come back and actually talk to her. It's one of the most quietly emotional payoffs the show has ever delivered, and it's why Camping keeps landing on best episode lists years after it aired. Number 8. Dad Baby, and now the one that doesn't neatly fit best or worst, because it's the single most argued about episode in Bluey history, Dad Baby. It's the episode Disney refused to air in the United States, and the one Joe Brumm later made available for download purely out of spite. Bandit and Bluey play a game where Bandit is pregnant and Bluey has to be born, physically climbing out from inside his shirt while he screams through a fake delivery. It's genuinely funny, and depending entirely on who's watching, it's either a sweet episode about how dads process the experience of having kids, or an episode you cannot explain to a 6-year-old without also explaining childbirth. Disney never gave a clear public reason for pulling it. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation aired it without a single complaint, and when American fans eventually tracked it down online, the reaction was nearly universal. Comment, Disney banned this for this? It's not hated. It's not universally loved either. It's just permanently, endlessly argued about, and that's exactly why it earns its own spot on this list. Number 9, Space Best. One more for the good side before we wrap up. Space. Mackenzie, Jack, and Rusty turn their school playground into a space mission, with Rusty as captain, Jack as navigator, and Mackenzie as the chief scientist. But underneath the pretend adventure, Mackenzie keeps trying to separate himself from his friends and eventually insists on traveling through a mysterious black hole alone. What looks like a simple astronaut game slowly becomes something much deeper, as Mackenzie relives a childhood memory of briefly believing his mom had left him behind. When Calypso appears in the memory and reassures him that he doesn't have to keep returning there, Mackenzie is finally able to move forward and rejoin his friends. It's one of Bluey's quietest and most psychologically layered episodes, showing how children can use play to process feelings they don't yet know how to explain. Number 10, Onesies. And to close things out, one more that consistently divides opinion, Onesies. The girls get matching onesies for Christmas and spend the whole episode trying to convince Bandit to wear his too, dragging him through an increasingly chaotic string of games while he mostly just wants 5 minutes of peace on the couch. It's cute, it's got a few good laughs, but a lot of viewers feel like it's one of the more forgettable entries in the Healer family lineup. Pleasant, low stakes, and gone from memory within a week of watching it. In a show that regularly makes people cry over cardboard boxes and toy rabbits, Pleasant but Forgettable is basically as close to a low mark as Bluey ever gets. So that's 5 of the best and 5 of the worst, expanded out from where we left off last time. From Sleepytime and the sign at the very top, all the way down to wild girls in onesies sitting quietly at the bottom. If I missed your favorite or your most hated episode, drop it in the comments because there is genuinely no shortage of Bluey discourse out there. Hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed because we're covering even more hidden Bluey secrets next time.